Python orientation series. This is the introduction part. First, programming, why we need, what is the purpose. Then we will go for the difference between the other programming languages and scripting languages and Python. So Python is called two different words: Python programming, Python scripting. So both are okay. We can use it. And Python is having little bit history. So evolution of the Python is also help us to understand what is the scope of the Python, why it is developed, when, where it is applied. So what are the applications which we can develop? And to develop, we have IDEs, so interactive development environment, where we can develop. So there are a lot of choices we have. We can go with the Jupyter, we can go with the Anaconda, we can go with the mobile level development kits as well. In the Android also you can develop, in the laptop also you can develop, in the server like cloud, AWS cloud, Lambda provides a Python. Oracle Cloud, OCI, is also providing a function, Oracle function service, so where you can write the Python program and run that one. So these are all different varieties where cloud is integrating with the Python. Okay, we'll talk in more details about that. Before going to that, we also understand how the program structure, what is the simple coding structure in the Python. One of the program which we will execute on our laptop and on the Google Drive also we can execute it, is having a collab sheet where we can write program and execute. It is nothing but a Jupyter notebook. So these are all different tools where we can write the Python program. So if you take one C program or C++ program, we'll have only one editor where you can write. But Python is having a lot of choices to write your program, and execution runtime is also a lot of places where we can run it. So Python, you can write at one place, you can run at another place using the cloud. So that is a running Python capabilities are increased or providing a lot of capabilities. That's why NASA is also using Python in their astronomy calculations and other stuff, where predications and mathematical statistics are involved in that part, and a lot of data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, all these are working with the Python programming. So that's about all our agenda which we are going to explore in this session. So let's jump into this. What is Python? So Python is a general purpose programming language. So there are different languages, right? So one language, if you are using old one, that is only used for business purpose, that is COBOL program. If you go for the something basic programming, that is Pascal programming. So these are specific to one particular purpose, but Python is not specific to one thing. It is general purpose. You can use it for scientific, you can use it for business, you can use it for astronomy or bioinformatics. Anywhere you can see Python is there. So Python is a programming language as well as scripting language. It is called both. Okay, so why it is called, I will let you know once we jump into the programming coding side. So Python is called interpreter language, as it is called scripting language. That's why it is called interpreter language. Scripting language means it is not going to have int or whatever the type, data type, you don't need to define. The values you are just storing into the variable, it will start working on it. Okay, so that is why it is interpreter language. Python is called both programming and scripting, both. So what is actually program? Program will have a compilation phase first phase. Then we are going to have the result. So the result of that compilation expected, what you are going to do, that is expected in the program. If it is not there, then it is going to throws the error. So whenever you see C program, you can see Java program, C++ program, it expects something. For example, simple semicolon is not given, that is expected. If it is not given, it will throws the error. So that is the basic limitations in the programming language. So Python is avoided that one, and it is having its whole structure in Python. So if you want to look at the program, Python is working with without semicolons, but Python needs indentation. Indentation, how much space you have to give at the beginning of the block. That is the most important thing. What is a program generally? In general, a program, if you take, it's a sequence of instructions. It is written in a computer that will be performing certain tasks. You want to add two numbers, then you take A, you take B, store the values in that one, then add that A and B, store into the result, then print it. So this is a simple task, right? Such a simple task. Similarly, if you go for that cloud, if you go for the AWS cloud, or if you go for the GCP cloud, or if you go for the Oracle cloud, OCI, they have storages. I'm having S3 bucket in AWS. In the AWS, it is storing the objects. One object you want to take from the US, and that same object I want to place in the India. This is a simple task. But who will do? There should be some program, there should be a person, any one of them. So that is a task need to be performed. So how we can do? Using the Python program. You need to run with one runtime environment that is provided by your AWS Lambda, or the function which is given by every cloud system, cloud runtime environment. So where you can run the Python program and do this object move from the US to India. Okay, so that is how the programming language, Python programming language is required. Where coming to the script, what is script? You are going to have a interpretation. It doesn't take the program two times. If you go for the C, C++, Java, they are going to compile first, then it is going to run the program. So two phases will be there every time. Whereas Python, it will be executed only once. Wherever the error, first error comes, there it will stop. That's why it is called interpreted language. A script is a code written in the scripting language. A script language is nothing but a type of programming language only, in which we are going to write the code to control. Means you're going to write some if conditions, you're going to put some else conditions, you're going to loop, iterate. So these are all comes under code controls. So this is what required for the software application development. Using Python, you can make web applications, you can make desktop applications, you can make mobile applications. You can develop any one of that type of these applications. So scripting capabilities also there in Python. That's why Python is a programming language. Python is a scripting. Python scripts also you can develop. So you can run if you go for any Linux system, any operating system you're having, right? So Windows operating system, Linux operating system will support scripting languages as a shell. So you go for the Linux system, BASH or SH, these are the shells. Python is also works like a shell, and you are going to have the scripting capabilities. Okay, so history. What is this story, history? These are all old things which we don't need really, but how this is developed. So Van Rossum is a person who is the dictator for this entire Python programming language. It is developed in 1980. So 1980, he developed for his college project. So he submitted this programming language as a college project. After that, it was keep on growing, and a lot of contributors, community is developed for this one. And he named this one because his favorite TV channel program is Monty Python program. So it was developed at Netherlands. Netherlands is a place where you're going to see Van Rossum workplace. So that's why it is open source, and it is a MIT licensed. MIT license means anyone can contribute and share and add more functions to the language. But who is going to monitor all those? Monitor by the Van Rossum. So it is an open source, and it allows a lot of developers to develop their functionalities. So this is the guy who developed this Python programming language. Python initially started by this one, and he's now a community leader, and he's monitoring whatever the new functionalities are adding. Right now, Python version is 3.8, and previously it was 2. So there are two different versions they are running. One is still with the Linux operating systems and in the shells, and another one, the latest version, which is having a lot of new features, and that is available on any platform. You can upgrade to Linux machines, you can upgrade on MacBook, or you can upgrade on mobiles, you can upgrade on Windows system as well. So there is a lot of freedom when you're working on the Python program. So nobody can read another's code. That is the most important thing, which is developers requires that one. And little whenever you are going to see that expressiveness in the programming, that is what it required. So when you are going to see something C or C++, something is defined and you are going to do some changes, some problems comes from the memory level, some problems comes from the Java, where you can see it is because of internet or internet services it is able to communicate. But if that some packets are missing, some data is missing, there is some problems will become. So there is a lot of limitations in different languages, where Python come out of that problems, barriers. It came with a lot of freedom. That's why you can see machine learning that supporting language is Python. Or if you see somebody who want to develop a complete package for the mathematics, that is completely available with Python, readily available as a one library. Okay, so that's why Python is so simple and easy. And if you see where is this Python is used, or what is the scope, right now you can see right side things, AI, machine learning, data science, these are the statistics based keep learning system. Machine learning is happening because of Python modules. Lot of modules are there. Out of that, latest things are going on. AI ML is a most trending thing. And in the left side you can see it is used in science, bioinformatics. It is used in system administrations, Linux, Unix, WebLogic, WebSphere, or web applications. If you are running on any cloud, you can use this as a scripting language. And if you want to run a web server, CGI also allows you the Python. So there is a separate package called Django. It is called as Django, but the spelling will be DJANGO. So Django, it is not correct word spelling, but the word is represented like that. So that module, that is web framework, that allows you, that will be using its CGI and common gateway interface, which is available in any web server. Jython servlets, it is going to work with the Jython scripts. That is also allowed. That is also available with the base of Python. And a lot of testing packages also coming up. A lot of people are working with the automations of testing in the cloud systems, in the web applications, in the mobile testing. That is also available with Python. Selenium with Python is one of the greatest package which you can see in the automations testing. Cloud-based automations, if you see, as I told you, AWS is having a separate package, separate library that is called Boto 3, and that will be running on the running platform that is called AWS Lambda. And AWS is also supporting IoT, Internet of Things, with the help of Python-based machine learning capabilities. Google is also supporting Google Cloud. Google, that is, we are going to use Colab. So Colab is one of the greatest feature which is implemented complete Jupyter notebook. That's the editor where you can have the runtime also. Editor with runtime. Normally, if you see the C program, you write the program in a turbo editor, run that program, then it will be running in the operating system. One window will be open, terminal, there we are going to get the output. In the Python, you write the program, get the output also on the same screen. So that is what the Jupyter notebook. So that Jupyter notebook is implemented by Google in Google Drive, and we can access that one as a notebook access. Okay, your own notebook you can run on your Google Drive. So just you need to open collab google.com. It will be help you to run the Python program. So why this Python is so crazy and why it is excited, why it is giving a lot of hype, because Python is object oriented just like Java, but it is having more capabilities, more limitations as well. Okay, so here we are going to see the Python as a polymorphism implementer. It is having the operator overloading internally, and multiple inheritance is also supported from the Python objects. What is this? What all those? We will definitely look into those in the detail when we come to the this sessions, object-oriented programming with the Python. So whatever you see the requirements from the different areas, there is a separate set of objects created, and those objects directly you can use as a function, and you can call that directly function or module you call. So in Python, it is anyone can write and publish. That's why it is free and open source. You can download Python from the internet very easily, and you can add any source. Today I'm writing some program in Python. Sometime later I need some functionality which is not there in the Python, that is present in the Java. Then you can integrate that one easily, access that one Java based function in the Python, and you can run it. So integration is so simple in Python. That is the advantage you can get it from the Python. Coming to this capabilities of the programming language. If you take C, you have to write A with assignment of 10, A is equal to 10, then you need to define that int A first, it is an integer type, then you are going to give A is equal to 10. So type you need to define, then only it will work. But here Python program, it will automatically understand whatever the value you are assigning. A is equal to 10 if you give, automatically it will make that A as an integer type. So it's a dynamically it will make that. Built-in types, built-in objects, you are going to have Python tools will be having all those things. There are some set of libraries, utilities which are available. Third-party tools also available. So as I told you, there is a lot of scope for the AI and ML. There, this mathematical calculations, numeric, NumPy, SciPy, all these are coming up for the supporting of data science, AI, MLs. Okay, machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities are already readily available. You just need to call that and use it. Okay, so that is the power of Python, and it is so portable. As I'm saying here, I'll just show you one simple example. So it is having everywhere a virtual environment, and you can run this on Windows system, you can run it on Linux system, you can go on the internet cloud, there also you can run. So irrespective of platform, you can run anywhere. That is the capability. Okay, if you want to install, where to run, how can I install, all those things, we can just simply go to the browser and say here in the Python download. So it will show us a lot of options: Windows download, Mac download, all those choices. So it will automatically show on which platform you are in, and it will, you can just download that one. Okay, right now the latest version is 3.9 is a latest Python version. Okay, all right. Any questions, guys? So far I just given the intro about the what is Python and how we can use it and where it is used, all those things. Okay, this is my simple basic environment which I can use on my Google Drive. All right, So in my Google Drive, I'm just using the collab page. Okay, collab. It is anyone who want to develop any Python program, you can use it. Okay, it's a shell which you can add code, you can add messages. So if you want to run the program, simply write the code and select it and run it. Okay, so that will execute the complete block of code and gives the result. So you are in the shell, Python shell, and you want to run some Unix based commands. You want to understand which version, you want to understand from which machine it is running. So these basic Unix commands also you can run from the Python shell. Okay, so you can also run this shell with the control enter in the collab. Okay, so what I'm getting here, if I'm giving the exclamatory mark in this notebook and execution, it is going to take it to the operating system shell. It is showing me Python version 3.6 and it is installed on a IP address that is starting from 172. So what is the 172 using? Means it is a container based. So containers are developed around 5 years back. Docker containers are so popular. Google is using container system. So Docker containers is IP address. Using this IP address, you can understand. And what is the operating system it is using? In Linux, you can simply say uname-a, and you can see it's a Linux operating system, and it is supporting x86 64-bit operating system. Okay, so that is also we can get the information. So, and if you want to look at ls means list of the directory, recursively, r means recursively. So there is one directory sample data. So that sample data is having all CSVs and which is supporting this notebook. So this is the basic information about the system where you can run the program and develop. All right, so if you want to make some changes, let's say I want to change this program and can I run again? Yes, you can run again. So far it is hello guys. Now it is saying hello Sagar, right? So you can make the change and you can run immediately and get the result differently. So right now it is 100 A value and B value I'm changing to 200. And if I want to store that result into result variable, so these are all variables. I'm not telling what type of data. So it's a dynamically understands that one. What is A, what is B? It's an integer type. And after calculating these values, it is going to print. Okay, so this sum value I'm able to get as a output. All right. So how can I know this is stored in the integer type? So I can just say id a. Okay, so id a tells that what kind of this a means variable, the Python object which is you're running. So if I'm going to say id, I am getting some number and this is storing in a memory location. Okay, so this is giving me a memory location. If I'm going to say type of a, so what type of this? It is an integer type. All right, so now I'm not getting id value. Okay, so these are the internals of your system variables, and you don't need every time. Just first time you want to understand, you can just explore these things and see that one. All right, so one time you got the memory allocation, next time you are not getting any new memory allocation. So that's why id is not showing that. All right, this is a simple structure of a program, but where actual program comes in, how that would be. So if I'm going to write some functions, then there is a simple structure. If I want to do this entire addition of these two numbers in a function, then I just move this code. Okay, so diff, I want to say add, then I'm going to say a comma b. So these are the two variables. What kind of variables? I'm not telling. Integer type, float type. I'm not saying it is a string or what. Okay, and result is a variable. I just want to add a plus b. Okay, so that's all. This is a function I have defined, and I want to use this one in my main program. Okay, after this I just want to say add 2000, 1000, then is it going to give a result? Then I want to store this one in x is equal to add these two numbers, right? So print that x. All right, so this one I want to run. So what we are getting, it is 2000 and 1000. When I'm printing x, it is giving none. Okay, so okay, it's all right. So what I'm saying here, the result, what I have given here, let us say in short R, and I'm just doing nothing. And if I'm going to say return R, then I'm getting the value. So that is the structure, program structure. You are doing some inputs and you're getting that calculations. You are not returning, then the function doesn't do anything to the calling area. So where you are calling, this is a line, x is equal to add. All right. So when you are going to use this function, it should be properly created, and then you can pass this arguments differently and get the results. Okay, so there are a lot of functions, capabilities in the Python. You will get to know all those things, and this Python will be available in two different ways. One is interpreter mode. This is interpreter mode. Have installed on my system Python installed, Python idle, and here it is a Python prompt. Okay, so I can just store x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, and I can say x star y. I got the result immediately. I'm not storing anywhere, but the result I'm getting in the output. So interactively you can give that and try to see what is happening there. So this is interactive shell. Even this one is a Jupyter notebook is also interactive shell. Whatever you are writing as a function or program and executing, that execution output you are getting after this shell. Okay, so you can make this entire thing as a one program, whereas in the interactive shell you have to collect all the lines, whatever the outputs correctly executed, then you put into the program and that will be executed. Okay, so there are two different methods to run your Python program. Okay, so that is about Python. So installation, there are different platforms which you are going to use, right? So you can use Windows system, you can use Mac system, you can use the Linux system, right? Just now we have seen the Linux system is running your Python on the collab, right? If you look at on my system, that is a Windows system, Windows-based system that is also running Python. So Python can run on anywhere, any platform. Different versions are there. 3 versions, 3.xx versions are there. 2 versions also there. That depends on the what platform, which version which you are using. Suppose I am using Linux 6 version. It's an old version. That definitely go with the 2 version, 2.x Python. Already it is available in that Linux operating system. Okay, so that is about story. What is Python? How you can install? Where you can install? Okay, so who uses this Python today? Python is applied in real revenue generation products, real-time business intelligence, real-time data statistics, all the data science projects based on the Python. It is because of capabilities which are there with the data structures so fast which we can access, and super capabilities of data sets. So Google makes extensive use of Python. You can see YouTube, you can see our web search. Google search is working with the Python based data structures only. Google is having a lot of AI specialists in their company, and they are working with Python only. And you are seeing Google Lens in the images, and it is identifying just because of the sci-fi methods packages included in that one, and they are using identifying the images. Intel, Cisco, Hewlett Packard, and Seagate, and a lot of companies, IBM, all of them are using testing purpose, software served, web servers, WebSphere server, WebLogic server. All these are using the Python as a supporting scripting language there. Python is as an end user customization tool. You can also make GIS map products. You are seeing Google Maps, you are getting the maps, accurate calculations, all these calculations backend, it is working with the Python only. The YouTube videos, as I told you, it is sharing services largely written in the Python only. The search, that whatever you are doing, everything is working with the Python searching capabilities of the package which you are seeing. If you are going to see some sample code, this is a simple sample code where you can store not only a number value or a string value, you can also do some mathematical calculations and directly assign that variable. X is equal to 34 minus 23 indicates that it is a sum calculation and it is going to store. So it is always goes from the left direction. So right to left, it is going the data. So here you can also mention the comment in your program by using the hash. Okay, hash, then in the same line you can write the comment. And if you're going to see the string, you can use the double quotes or single quotes or triple quotes. These are the three different options we have for the string enclosing. You can store the multiple lines of data also. That is a special feature in Python. No other language given before. Python given this capability. And if you see that floating values, you can store that directly numbers, the number with point values, and you can do calculations, you can do conditional statements, you can check that value. Very, very simple. You see, if Z equal to 3.45 or Y equal to hello. So if you are already assigned and you are checking that value, if it is true, any one of these true, then the flow, control flow is enters into this block. And it will increment X value and it is going to add a string, hello plus world. So what you are going to expect the output of this print statements? Anyone? Any guess? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir. Y is hello world. Int Y is hello world.
Okay, Y is the hello world. So number, what do you guys expected? It's 11 or 12? No idea.
12, sir. 12. 11 is the 34 minus 23. X value is the 11. And X
Yes.
plus 1. 12.
So 12 will be displayed. Right.
Yes,
so 12 and hello world will be the output expected. So that is concatenation of the two strings will happen when you use the plus operator. The same plus is working for the numeric values and this same plus is working for the two strings concatenation. So that's why operator overload is already implemented in the Python, built-in, readily available. You can use it. So you can also make some operators to overload. That is also possible in program object-oriented programs. So you have a lot of coding capabilities where first important or critical thing, people hate Python because of indentation. It doesn't have any flower brackets, it doesn't have semicolons, but it is very, very easy to read when you structure the program. And the block structure indicates always indentation. So indentation means you can use 4 spaces or 1 space or 8 spaces, whatever the tab, your tab says. If you go to the VI editor, tab will take 8 spaces. If you go to the normal editor, Notepad++ or some other, then it will be taking 4 spaces. That depends on the latest modern editors. So if you go for the assignment of variables where you can store the values, declare the variables, you can directly use it. Python figures out automatically variable types. As I told you just now, we have seen that example. So assignment operator is so powerful. And if you want to compare, you have to use double equal. The number of operators also there, all mathematical operators which are present in your mobile, present in the laptop, that all you can execute, you can use the. So special overloading is happened for the string concatenation, and percentage s, percentage formatters, C like formatting is allowed in the Python. So logical operators which we can simply write and or not. So this is straightforward English words. There is no hassles or difficulty to understand. Either this will happen or that one, or both should happen, then you are going to use and. If you want to check this is not there, then you simply say not in front of that. So that is the simplest English like language. That's why easy to write, easy to develop the Python code. Print command, it is going to print display. So it is just like printf in C programming, or in Java it is system.out.println. All right, so that is about how the program structure looks like. Once you develop the entire Python program, you're going to give the file name as a .py. It's not necessary, it's not mandatory, but if you give, user can understand this is a Python program. If I'm just making a test one, even then Python can run that program. Okay, so Python program source code you can give as a .py extension. Then interpreter will take that program and convert that into bytecode. So intermediate code or file, that is .pyc, that will be used for execution, and Python is going to have a Python virtual machine. Python virtual machine will run this program in a Jupyter notebook or in your Python executable shell. So these are all different areas where you can use the PVMs, Python virtual machine runtime. Okay, so whenever you are using this, some libraries, standard libraries already available. Some libraries not available, which are third party, then you need to download and you have to include that one as a module. Import module you are going to say. Okay, so these are the overall flow. If you are going to see, first thing you are going to develop the program.py, and then your program, whenever you are executing, these two phases will happen: interpreting and execution. So you will look like you will be getting directly Python program is executed and your program is on running state, but in between there is one file will be created in hidden format, or in the same directory you can see that one. But this will happen only when you are writing a program file, not for the interactive shell. Just now we have tested that one. Okay, so that is about basic how and where running program. So Python is interpreter language, as you just now seen. In the Python is showing that triple greater than, that is a prompt, Python prompt, Python shell. You can write code and you can make a lot of objects, sequences, all those things we will try to learn in our course. Okay, so there are storing capabilities also very bigger in size. As per the need, it is going to grow. If you go for the C, long is a long, double is a long, double is the biggest size, like that. But there is not limitation. There is very big size in Python. That's why NASA people are storing the values for calculation numbers without any hassle, because Python is having bigger size of storage of the data. So if a quantity matters, then Python is the best to store the default size of the variables, values, or objects. It will also store the sequences, lists, arrays, very simple, easy to use. Okay, so that is what here. Guys, that is about Python introduction. I've shown you in my laptop on the Google Drive also how to execute the program, way to execute, right? So you have any questions for me?